in this particular video, we're going to cover the snapshot feature of the Zadara Storage Virtual Private Storage Array. So in the creating a volume, you may have noticed this button here marked Attach Default Snapshot Policies. And that's attached to most volumes by default. And this is a feature that that the VPSA will take a snapshot of the volume at a given point in time, and you can then mount that snapshot from a previous point in time in the future. And in this case, if someone deletes a file that they shouldn't have, you can go back to a snapshot that was taken 3 hours ago and recover that file. So the default snapshot policies that we have associated with the VPSA are the hourly snapshots for a day, takes a snapshot every hour, keeps them around for a day and then automatically cleans them up. Daily snapshots for a week and takes one snapshot a day, keeps them around for a week. And weekly snapshots for a year, it takes a snapshot once a week and keeps them around for a year. You can also set up your own snapshot policies here on the left side under Snapshot Policies. So if you wanted to create your own snapshot policy, you can set it up with different options here. In this case, every minute, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, etc. So if I create a snapshot policy for every 5 minutes, and I will name it the same way. You don't have to name it the same way. You can name it anything you'd like it. And I'm going to decide to keep 30 of them around. So this is intended just for short-term recovery there. And I'll also choose Allow Empty Snapshot Recreation. And this ensures that a snapshot is created every 5 minutes. Without that option, it's only going to create a snapshot when data has changed on the volume. Okay. And you can also say specify your newly created snapshot policy as being the default for any new volumes that you create. So I'm going to leave that as not as the default. I'll create this new snapshot policy. It's successful. And if I want to attach a snapshot policy to one of the existing volumes, I'll then go back to the volumes here, choose the particular volume, and under Data Services at the top here, I can attach a particular snapshot policy. And I'll choose my every 5 minutes and hit Submit. I'm sure about that. And there we go. So if I now look at the snapshot policies for the volume, down in the bottom frame there, it's got 4 separate snapshot policies that's going to create one every 5 minutes, one every hour, one every day, and one every week. Okay. You can also see the snapshots that have been created. Now this is a newly created volume, so none of the snapshot policies have actually fired yet. I can create a manual snapshot. So create snapshot. So I'll create the manual snapshot there, and it is successful because that is essentially an atomic operation there. So the snapshots, they use the same storage blocks on the pool level that the volume already uses. So the snapshots do not take any additional space. And that's a difference there from other vendors. So to use a snapshot, you can then choose the snapshot that you wish to use. I'm going to select, I want to create a clone of the snapshot. A clone volume. There you go. And then once you've created a clone of a snapshot, that shows up in your list of volumes as a new volume. And you then treat it as just the same way as any other volume. I'll attach it to server, I'll attach it to the entire VPC, or SMB in this case. And there we go. So I can now take this particular cloned volume, copy that in, go over to Windows File Explorer and Paste that in. Now, here's the thing that you're going to run into a lot of the times with the clone volume. Because it's a clone of the data and not the metadata of the volume, I need to go back into the properties for the volume, select the properties here, and I'm looking for SMB guest access. Allow a guest access, yes, successful. So I can now go back to here and try mounting that volume once again. There we go. So in a previous video, I started copying the example volume, copying the Windows directory, and then I've created a clone of this one. So to make things easier, I'll map the clone of that one. So it's going to be the Y drive, and indeed, why not? So paste that in. All right, cloned. There we go. So I've got this, the original and the cloned one. If I look at the properties of each one, I can see that the cloned one, properties, I've put roughly 6 gig there. Pop you over there. And the original one, which is this one, let's bring up the properties for that. And I have the same, I can bring up both properties. There we go. So the properties for both are the same. It's the same 6 gig there. If I go in the original one and I delete the Windows directory for that, this is my copy of the Windows directory. I should really emphasize. Most people think I'm just deleting that. I can then go back into the properties of that. So that's properties of this. Let's go through and bring up the properties once again. Properties, and 5.75 instead of 5.89. So it's decreasing, but if I bring up the properties of the clone, it is unchanged. It's a clone of that volume as it was when we made the snapshot there. And if I go back to here, the list of snapshots, I can see that the snapshot policy should have triggered in there as well. That's the snapshot policies for the cloned volume. Snapshots. There we go. There's one of the automated snapshots being created from the 5-minute policy. Okay. In the next video, I'll show using these snapshots to mirror the volume off to another VPSA.